Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I made this analogy many times, and I will make it again, and I promise I will make it in the future, because it's one of the easiest way to understand what I'm trying to say. I know you're not dumb or anything, but it's easier for some of them to there are people who to understand what the hell I'm talking about. If you played in a team sport, with other players like football or soccer or other games like this, and you play against a team, sometimes it happened, to me at least, when I realized that looking at some of my players thinking, what the fuck is going on with these guys? And I thought, I wished I would have that player in my team or that player from the opposite side. So I'm sorry to feel this way, being in the United States of America and really looking at some politicians, and not politicians, diplomats especially, and politicians. And I can't help thinking, oh man, I would like to have those guys in my team. And who do I have? I have fucking Blinken. Or I have, what's her name, Karine Jean-Pierre, or Biden, or Kamala, instead of having, I don't know, a Wang Yi, or a Zakharova, or what's his name, Lavrov, or Peter Giarto of Hungary, or Dr. Jaishankar of India. They are not in my team. And I want them. I want people like that. Why? Because they're smart. These are not smart. And I'm jealous about it. So when I say, well, Lavrov is a very intelligent diplomat and so on, compare that with Blinken and other weasels that we have here. Like now, after Blinken, is going to be that Victoria Nuland. My God, there's going to be another one. Anyway, like Madeleine Albright. Okay, so Mr. Lavrov is not an idiot. Mr. Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, knows what time it is, and he got people's number. The problem is this: what I see in Russia is a slow reaction to what happens. So someone, let's say, throws a jab, and you see jab coming and coming and coming and coming, and you don't react until it gets close. It punches you, and then you say, oh, I think it was a jab. Yes, it was a jab. Now, when the guy is gonna, I don't know, throw a hook, then you say, okay, I think it's a hook, and you do whatever you need to do for a hook, so on. So this is Russia right now, and I'm thinking, what the hell? What more evidence do you need to understand that these guys are not your partners, your allies, your friends? They're not. They want to you, right? So they're your enemies. And finally, Lavrov comes and tells that, but it's one thing, it seems like it's a long way to the top, if you want to rock and roll, from what the Russians are saying to what they're doing. They don't break the whole thing. Like you have a little Band-Aid, zip, Jesus Christ, not like that. Once and that's it. They don't do that. And I don't understand. I don't understand why. It's clear what's going on in Ukraine. Those guys are there to get you, get your nation. That's how I see it. And Lavrov sees this now and says it. Now, I don't know if Russia will act upon this conclusion of its foreign minister, a very intelligent guy, Lavrov. And very balanced, I must say. I watched him in many interviews and many lectures and speeches. And anyway, here it is. Russia Today, August 18th, 2023. West has shown its, and I'm quoting, true Russophobic face, end quote, Lavrov. Kiev is being used to wage war on, quote unquote, our shared past, culture, and everything Russian, end quote, the Russian ministry has said. Washington and Brussels have openly unleashed a hybrid war against everything Russian, dropping their masks after decades of pretending to be civilized and adequate international partners. I hate this freaking word because they use it over and over again. Let me because I know the sound is different here. Former Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said in an interview with International Affairs published on Saturday, and I'm quoting Lavrov, "Many of our former partners, fuckingly, have been concealing their Russophobic nature under the veil of hypocrisy, but have now shown their true face in all its glory," he said. And I'm quoting again, "However, there is also the flip side of the coin here. Since the global majority saw the true face of those who went as far as to aspire to a monopoly in defining the so-called universal values, quote unquote, today's West is steered by people like Josep Borrell." He should be the counterpart of the European Union to Lavrov. Very thirsty. Cheers. Who divide the world into blooming garden and the jungle, where the latter clearly applies to most of humanity. End quote, Lavrov said. The West has spent decades cynically transforming neighboring Ukraine into a, and I'm quoting, hostile military bulwark against Russia by nurturing an entire generation of politicians ready to declare war on our shared past, culture, and everything Russian, according to Lavrov, and that's a good word for according to. Western capitals even openly admitted that reaching a peaceful state settlement in Ukraine was never part of their plan. That's true. Remember, it was Hollande and Merkel said, and Poroshenko of Ukraine, when they were pranked, they said, well, we never meant to implement the Minsk agreements. We just bought time to arm Ukraine for this. All right, it says here, Western capitals even openly admitted to reaching a peaceful settlement in Ukraine was never part of their plan, and that the Minsk agreements were originally, scabies, designed to buy some time to prepare a military scenario and deliver weapons to Kiev, end quote. And I'm quoting Lavrov again. I think that the essential thing we must understand in this regard is that the West wants to do away with our country as a serious geopolitical rival, end quote, the top Russian diplomat said. Well, look at facts, okay? And you tell me. And I'm quoting. They have not hesitated to use subvertive methods and perform acts of sabotage, as was the case with the explosion of the Nord Stream pipelines under the Baltic Sea. Hey, what happened with those? You forgot about them? I didn't. Imagine if those pipelines would be American or British or French or, I don't know, someone that matters. Jesus Christ, they would be every day. I don't want to use the country in the Middle East. That would be never ending. Lavrov also accused Washington and its allies. There's no such a thing as allies. Those are just a pack of wolves that are called to come and attack the prey. The alpha wolf will kill the prey with these guys' hands. And then he's going to push them all around. He's going to dispense the spoils of war. And he gets the lion's share. And Q. See you next time, allies. Using all possible coercive means to prevent Russia's partners from engaging in economic and other kinds of cooperation. He's talking about Germany. While also, and I'm quoting, making outrageous efforts to disconnect Russia from international cooperation mechanisms in culture, education, research, and sports. End quote. That's all attack. One thing that the West fails to understand, according to Lavrov, is that, and I'm quoting, Russia will use all means to defend its people and its vital interests, end quote. And thus, world would be better for the opponents. Good job, not partners anymore. Why do you call them opponents? Call them enemies. Why not? They are enemies. But again, opponents. Weasel talk, Lavrov, weasel talk. For the opponents to realize the, and I'm quoting, that confrontation with Russia is futile and switch to more civilized, end quote, means for achieving a balance of interests. No, my friends, no. Lavrov, stop dreaming. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. The fact is that you, as Victoria Nuland said in one of her interventions, virtual intervention in a summit in Ukraine, about a month ago, she said, United States, we're not going to do this again for you guys. We're not going to attack Russia. It's now we win, or if Russia is not, this is my translation, is not, then we're done. We're done. We got to start working from now on. We can just use dollars and sanctions and all that in our terms and threats and blackmail. They will form an alternative radio station, alternative club, and we're going to be screwed because they're going to work on their foreign currency. You see, I'm becoming now double speak and newspeak. That's why, not double speak, newspeak. So anyway, my friends, I think that Lavrov finally says certain things, but he did say these things before. The thing is how you act. Are you going to act upon these conclusions? Do you believe in this? Do you have the courage to do it? You have no chance. I mean, these guys are to get your throat right now. It's not like, oh my God, we're here just to play ping pong, clip, clip. Oh, you lost. It's okay. So I think they gotta get real. And I'm not on Russia's side or on the Western side. I'm on the side of, I think, the truth. And if you say, hey, let's be peace and we're all equal, then behave like that. Don't behave like imposing sanctions on everyone, but say every country is independent and sovereign. How is it independent and sovereign? But once, as soon as you don't like a particular country's decision in foreign affairs, you go and intervene and impose sanctions to change that country's behavior, its own decision in relation to other countries, not to you. How is that country independent? You act like you are on a plantation, and that's exactly what it is. US, and you got the plantation slaves, which are all 30 states, about 35 states, and the Great Britain, which is a house servant. That's what it is. Great Britain is the house servant, and the rest, Romania, France wants to be a house servant, as I said many times, but Great Britain kicks them out when they bring the mail, and the French try to linger in the house servant, Great Britain. Hey, you gotta go over there and cut some sugar cane, France. And they go over there and didn't do it. And these guys are the European Union and NATO countries, plus other weasels like South Korea, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand. These guys are part of the plantation. And Palau, Zabalau, Kapalau, and Trapalau, a few more countries. And if you add them all together, there's no more than 50 countries out of 195 countries. So you have 145 countries potentially that are not in the club. And they will immediately go behind Russia, China, India, Brazil, and so on, if they are able to protect them. But how can they be certain they can be protected? If Russia does not collapse. If Russia withstands all the NATO's might in Ukraine, they will be certain that the Russians and the Chinese and these guys will be able to protect them from this slave master. That's why it is. It looks more and more clearer that Russia is able to withstand all NATO's might. The only thing NATO did not put in this is troops. That's all. But if they want to put troops, the Russians will use nuclear weapons. I am 99% certain they will do that. That's why the Poles are yapping around, but they know once they do make a little mistake, the Russians will have no patience with them and they will nuke the out of them. And they know it. They know it. The same with Lithuania, Latvia, and so on. And Great Britain with its, 250 nuclear weapons, less than Israel, if you can believe that. Unbelievable. You're losers, man. Losers. What do you mean? Great Britain, 250 nuclear weapons? And, how do you call it? Unreported. These guys have more than you, Israel. That's how some media says, okay? So if they lie, I'm telling you the truth. Unbelievable. It's very interesting that nobody goes and checks on Israel arsenal. Why? Because that's a free country. Good job. Israel is a sovereign country, the Jewish state, not you. They all want to check on Iran. I would say when we are allowed to check yours, you are allowed to check mine. Otherwise, we are like your subordinate. Since when? Since when we, Iran, or let's say North Korea, are your subordinate? And we should get rid of these ones, but you don't. But you use them. We never use them. So you're guilty of it already. I mean, again, my friends, this is BS. And if you don't see it that way, is either, I don't know, anyway, let's stop there. It's better. But, you know, I think you know what I mean but, through all these things. I'm not defending Russia, but Russia has to decide one point, say, call these guys as they are. These guys want to pull on you a Gaddafi or a Saddam or a Mussolini. Look how they ended up. They want to put something like this on you, and you call them partners? What the Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just, my friends.